So basically, what the for loops actually do is they keep track. So what the for loops actually do is they track the number of iterations. So that they track the number of iterations, and you always have to maybe like have a condition. So the condition must always be there. So it takes in three arguments: the first one, the second one, and the third one. So the first one will always be the initialization. So you initialize your variables, then maybe you give a certain condition here. Then within this one, you can either increment or decrement depending on your point of execution. So these are what are the three arguments a for loop actually takes. So let's try maybe like look at the architecture. So just remember that the for loops are actually powerful because they keep track of the number of iterations during a value execution. So you have to use the inbuilt and the predefined keyword, that's the for. Then you have your condition here, then opening and closing, then now your code goes here. So you have it here. So this means that this is the basic architecture of a for loop. So for is remember is a predefined keyword, so you cannot use it again for the, any variable. Then you set now your condition, then your code will now, or maybe your commands go here. So maybe you are trying to do something, then you have to do it in between this. So remember, it takes in the opening and closing brackets. Inside this, remember you have your own set conditions, and inside the set conditions you have this, and then it also actually falls, the code falls in between the opening and closing curly brackets. So once your code is out here, so that means it's not part of actually the for loop. So you have to be very careful when you where you are placing your code. So this is not part of this code here. So these are two different lines. So let's check now on inner details about this parameter. So we say that the first one takes in value initialization. So instead of me coming up here and saying int a, then assign it to maybe like 60, then this is actually can be done inside this value here. So we can have that here. So we can have int a equal to 60. So remember, again, it's being separated by this full semicolon, not actually a full colon. Then instead of me saying now like setting the condition again, a is less than 5 up here, and then I have to take this one now as this second condition here. So I have to say now a less than 5, then I have to now like increment. So instead of saying maybe like a plus plus, incrementing the value here at the either here or up here, then I'm going to place it as my third argument parameter. So this is how the basic architecture of a loop looks like. So you use this to actually like maybe assign and do something within your conditions. So the first thing I'm going to maybe do, so let me just give you the order. So what actually does is that actually like the data type. So your data type must be the first one, then you have a variable name, then you can assign it to a value, then you separate it. So then you can now say maybe like the value, the variable name, sorry, so the variable name must be less, or either the condition where the statement you want to test may be less than 5, then you have to actually like do the variable name increment or the decrement. So this is just a pseudocode. So pseudocode is just maybe resembles the actual code. So the first thing we are trying to do here is I'm trying to say that this is maybe is like an integer. Then for the variable name I'm calling it a. Then for the value I'm assigning it to maybe like 0. Then I'm moving forward to this place for my variable name. So remember that my variable name was a less or equal to, so maybe like let me say 6. Then I'm coming here towards the end to make sure that I'm using the variable name again. So the variable name, so a plus plus. Then I don't end with a semicolon because I'm just ending here next to the opening and closing bracket. So this is the basic architecture of a for loop. So let's do a simple example. So I'm going to say now int maybe a, assign it to like, so int a, so let me not give too much spacing. Then let me assign it to 0. Then a less or equal to maybe 5, then I have to increment again that value. So for my code condition here, I want to print out hello world 5 times. So I'm going to say cout maybe hello C++. And then let me like concatenate it again with the exact number here. So then I want to C++ index number, so that we can keep track. That I'm going to end my line. So otherwise I would have just eliminated this one and then ended it here without a semicolon. So then I'm going to make sure that I now print this. So remember, there's no value increment here like the while loops. So because we have already incremented this condition up here. So let's try and execute this. Oh, sorry. So let's actually like print it in a new line, or let's just first execute so that we can observe the difference. We see now that they are really like in random numbers here. So let's say that we want them in each line in a new line. So you use the end line. Now you see that we have this printed 6 times. So if you want to keep track so that we can know the index, we can now say we want to track the variable name here. So that's a. So at index number, so when you run that, you now find that we are running at index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So remember, if you want to include number, actually like 5, you have to use the less or equal to. Otherwise, if you now eliminate the equal sign, then it will only fall under the condition that a must be less than 5 and not 5 must being equal to 5. So if you run that, you will see now that the end one is at index 4. So that's basically like what the architecture looks like. So again, you can use it for maybe like element iterations. So you can iterate through different number of elements. So maybe like you want to iterate through maybe a list or something. So you can use the for loop to iterate through. So the next thing I want us to do is I want us to look at the way we can net the for loops. So let's get into it.